Hello, welcome to episode 3. As you can see, something has changed, and what you can see behind us now is where we're going for our 1 hour daily walk, which is just around the river in Pinjarra. We got turfed out of our depot site in Dwellingup, where we were quite happily isolating by the rangers because they closed the park down, and basically told to go and sort ourselves out. So we rang a campsite just outside of Pinjarra and we've moved here. But could be worse places to walk around.
Hi everybody, I was going to say this has been an eventful 2 weeks, but it hasn't. It's been a very uneventful 2 weeks. Eventful in the fact that we've had a COVID lockdown, but uneventful in the fact that we haven't been able to go anywhere and do very much. When the lockdown happened, we were in Perth. We'd come back to Perth briefly for a couple of appointments and to get the car serviced. But while we were here, there was a COVID case, community transmission COVID case or potential for it. So that we went into a 5-day lockdown. And then we were fortunate enough to get to this campsite in Pinjarra. We stayed there for 5 days. We had power and water, but it was pretty dull in that it's a working farm. Everything's fenced off. You can't really go anywhere. We had to drive into Pinjarra for exercise and shopping and that kind of thing, which was about 5 kilometres. It's no biggie, but there we are. It just wasn't a particularly appealing. It was just like a paddock, basically. The first lockdown was 5 days. There were no cases, so they lifted the lockdown, but there were still travel restrictions. We weren't allowed to leave Peel. Nobody was allowed to come in either. But you could do everything else. You could go to cafes and things. We had to wear masks. That's the first time we've had to do that in Western Australia, so that was a bit novel. Soon got tired of that though. So we hitched up the van and we moved up the road a little way to Dwellingup, which is a nice little town in the forest, not far from Pinjarra. We arrived there on a Saturday. On the Saturday it rained for 3 days. We were there for 3 nights. It rained for 3 days. So we didn't do an awful lot, but at least we could walk into Dwellingup and have coffee and do some shopping and that kind of stuff. After 3 days, we moved back to Nanga Brook, which is where we were when we got turfed off, and because of the lockdown. So we went back there for 3 days. That's really nice. The weather was pretty nice there. And then 3 days we came here where we are now at Boddington, which is about as close to the Peel border as you can get. There were no more cases of COVID, so the travel restrictions were lifted this morning. And we will be going to, we'll be crossing the Peel border tomorrow. We could go today, and if there are any more cases today, we will hitch up and go, but we'll be going tomorrow out of here. So kind of normal service will resume. We've been itching to get going. In 2 weeks, we've moved about 80 kilometres. So I'll show you that on a map exactly where we've gone. But we've discovered Boddington. We wouldn't have stayed here otherwise. Boddington's a really nice place. It's kind of 10 out of 10 from us. I'll show you little bits of Boddington as well. So enjoy the episode, even though we haven't actually done very much. All right.
Okay, so this is a little cooking segment based around a gadget that we bought the other week. We didn't pack this to begin with. We saw some of this on YouTube. It's the pie maker from Woolworths, and what we're going to use it for today is to create a meal out of nothing, basically. So this is going to be very, very short and sweet. Basically you've got your frozen pastry, which is now thawed. You've got your pie cutters, which come with the machine, and you just cut out the top and bottom. Okay, so this thing's now heated up, and I've cut out the pastry. Got the bottom bit working pretty quickly because it's hot. And then got some leftover chicken curry. And this is the thing, I mean, this is like, it's no kind of quantity, but it'll do the job in a pie. The chicken and sweet potato. Alright, so now having put the filling in, you just put the lids on. Close it up. Timer on. Done. Alright, so when the timer's done, turn it off obviously, and there we go. Now obviously I stuffed it a bit too much, so the fillings come out a bit. That was Rob telling me to put in more. Shouldn't have listened to him.
You need them full.
Yeah, you clean it up. There we are, done.
Barbed wire. Not much left now. A lot of the buildings were sold off or removed after the war. Just foundations and paths and things, so we're not going to see an awful lot. Most of the prisoners here were Italian. A few troublemaking Germans apparently, but yeah, there's quite a large Italian population in WA that settled after the war. I just wonder how many of them actually got to know Australia from being here. People stayed on after the war perhaps. So many of the prisoners of war were employed on local farms. They needed workers in the war, and they set a lot of them to work.
That's a pretty substantial foundation there.
Yeah, they've had generators on here, I expect. See the old bits of iron stuff there to hold them. We're having a cup there. There's Helen having her first bath in days. Good wash in there. So this is in Lane Pool Reserve. This is it's fairly close to Nanga Brook campsite. A little swimming hole. So I think this is the Murray River. I'm not sure, but. What are you doing under there? Hey? What are you doing? Just sniffing at the shoes a minute ago. If you can see it now, normally I don't have any qualms about getting closer to wildlife, so it shows up. But I ain't getting too close to this. Now when it moves, it's a huntsman. When it moves, it'll move fast. Now huntsmans are quite good because they eat other spiders. So it makes me wonder what the hell it's doing here. Unless it likes curry, of course. If it likes curry, I would explain it. Now what we've got to do...
I'm not going anywhere near it.
Is we've got to get rid of it.
Why do we? It'll go by the morning.
Yeah, I'm coming out for a wee in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Welcome to Coffee and Cake. Before we get on to who won the award this week, just a quick update on what happened after episode 2. We awarded the Coffee and Cake prize to the Treehouse at Boyart Brook, and Andy shared the video on the community Facebook page, and it got relayed back to the owners and workers of the Treehouse Cafe, and they were absolutely over the moon about our award, and there's all sorts of really nice comments on Facebook, which I don't know if Rob, if you can screenshot that on, that's quite fun. Anyway, so yeah, maybe this will be a really prestigious award fought for over the course of the year.
It'll be like getting a Michelin star, the Wander Out Yonder Coffee and Cake Award.
Yeah. So this week's episode, we haven't gone far, as you know, so the contenders were in the radius of Pinjarra, Dwellingup and Boddington. We reached agreement on this, yeah. Actually, not too bad a fight about it. The coffee award goes to the new place down at Dwellingup that's opened up called the Waypoint, which is down by the sort of railway heritage place, and they're developing Dwellingup as a bike trail haven, and they've got a really nice coffee there, a really nice cafe there that does good coffee. So that's the coffee award.
Yeah, as good as the coffee in the first time we did it.
And food, and I'm going to get the pronunciation of this wrong. It's Italian. It's Vergone or Vergones. It's approaching Dwellingup, and nice little place, fruit farm and homemade food. And Rob's ham and cheese croissant and my homemade carrot cake were really tasty. So
I get
and a nice place.
Yeah, I have ham and cheese croissant a lot. And you get all kinds of quality things that have just been microwaved, floppy and soggy. Things that have got cheese but not much ham, or ham but not much cheese. But the one in Vergones or Vergones was just right. It was a lovely, crispy, sort of flaky crust. Lots of filling. It was cooked just right. It was perfect. So yeah.
Okay, there we are.
So they're the two for this week, both from Dwellingup. Waypoint for coffee and Vergone or Vergones for food. Excellent.